I'm speaking to you today on Election Day, November 5, 2024. So I'm not sure when you're watching this video, but today is Election Day. Don't worry, I'm not going to be talking about the presidential election. But what I did want to talk about today is the laws around medical malpractice and why they can be very frustrating. I can't tell you how many times I've spoken to clients and have to tell them that even though I think that maybe they had a potential case, that some of the laws that we have here in Maryland are not very helpful, and therefore I won't be able to take the case. Let me talk about some of the top legal impediments or legal obstacles that we have in Maryland. The big one is what we call the statute of limitations. I've done many videos on that. The statute of limitations, just as a quick reminder, is the legal term for deadlines. So every state is different, but in Maryland, if you're an adult, generally you have 3 years to bring a lawsuit. That's number one. The other legal obstacle is what we call damage caps, and I've done videos on that. What does that mean? It means that there are laws that set a limit to the amount of pain and suffering damages that you can get in a medical malpractice case. So that means even if you take your case to a jury and a jury awards you whatever they think is fair, if that goes over the limit set by Maryland law, then you can't collect any more than the legal limit, even though the jury has awarded you more money. I've done videos on the damage caps and what the amounts are in Maryland. It changes all the time. But the point is that that's another legal obstacle that prevents people from bringing medical malpractice cases. And the third obstacle, in some ways, is the requirement to have a medical expert. So in Maryland, as in most states, in order to pursue a case and to move forward, you have to have another doctor in the specialty that you're suing. So, for example, if you are suing an emergency room doctor or a cardiologist or anesthesiologist or whatever, you need to have a medical doctor in that field to be able to speak to the standards of care and whether those standards of care amounted to medical negligence. No, I'm not saying that that's not fair, because you would want qualified people to be able to have to come to court and to be able to lay blame or lay negligence upon a doctor who's being sued. That's not the issue. But more and more, the laws are getting very restrictive on the type of doctor that can serve as a medical expert. For example, some doctors who are retired, who no longer practice, even though they may have been quite prominent in their field and extremely knowledgeable, just because of the fact that they've retired, precludes them or blocks them from being able to be an expert witness in your case. So those are sort of the top three issues and obstacles that come up when I talk to clients about why I'm unable to take their medical malpractice case. So what does that have to do with Election Day? Well, it gives me an opportunity to talk to you about how the laws like this are made in Maryland. And many of us don't pay attention to what's going on with issues like this. There's a lot of more newsworthy issues that we may be involved with, but we really don't pay attention to what we call tort reform. And tort reform are laws that are made to either prevent you or to limit your access to being able to get full justice. And many of these laws are passed without any kind of fanfare. There's really no news about them. You'll never hear about them, but they are laws that are made in Annapolis. So just real quickly, what happens is that every year the Maryland legislature gets together in session and they deal with all the business of Maryland, and they propose and pass many different laws. But each year, there is always a lot of attention on tort reform, which is restricting and trying to restrict the rights of people to justice. Now, remember, the ones who want to pass these laws are the rich and powerful hospitals, the rich and powerful insurance companies, all of the big guys that want to prevent little guys like us from being able to get justice. And so, again, it's usually done without much fanfare, and you probably don't even know that a lot of these laws are being passed year to year to year. And only when you are a victim of medical malpractice and you speak to a lawyer do you realize for the first time that all of the obstacles that are in front of you in order to bring a case. And I know that many clients I speak with are very surprised to learn about these laws in Maryland. So what can you do about it? Well, remember, when you're elected official, and these are your state senators and your state representatives, not federal, not president, not those who you send to Congress in Washington, D.C., but your local representatives, your state senators and your state House representatives, when they are running for election and they are asking for your vote, what can you do? Well, you can ask them, where do you stand on tort reform? How do you feel about restricting patients' rights to bring lawsuits? How do you feel about restricting the amount of money damages that a person can get? How do you feel about statutes of limitations? How do you feel about being able to bring medical experts? How do you feel about restricting what type of medical expert can testify on behalf of a patient? And get those answers. These are representatives that you elect. They work for you, not the other way around. And you should know where they stand on these issues, because if you don't ask them, they're never going to tell you, because it's not a big hot button issue, and it's not an issue that most people care about. So next time you have an opportunity to speak to one of your elected officials, even if they're in office now, and you have a question about how they stand on medical malpractice and medical malpractice limits, reach out to them. Get the information so that you know that next time they come up for election, if it's not something that you like, you can exercise your right to vote for someone who does support the issues that you support. So thanks a lot for watching this video. I hope it was informative, and I hope that you liked the video. If you did, please hit that subscribe button below, and that way you can take advantage of all of my future videos. You can also check out my website at frankspectorlaw.com. On my website, I have lots of great medical malpractice content, and I'm updating it all the time. So thanks again for watching. I'll look forward to seeing you again on a future video. You take care.